Nigel will give his verdict on the big story of the day, Boris Johnson's national insurance gamble. But first, after 785 migrants crossed the Channel yesterday, as confirmed by the Home Office in the past few minutes, Priti Patel has gone tough on the French by saying, oh, maybe you won't get £54 million from us after all. Now, Nigel, the numbers are just getting higher and higher and higher. And I guess my question is why on earth did the government ever trust the French government? Because the French government don't want this to go well for us. They're doing nothing.
Well, they claim to stop a few boats here and there, but if they stop a boat, that's fine because the people's trying, the next day they're over. I mean, this story's gone quiet for the last couple of weeks, because the weather has been so awful.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last half of August ever being more miserable.
No, it was horrible.
I mean, I want some global warming because it's been dreadful. So yesterday was the day before it began to become passable. About 150 came. Yesterday, Home Office tell us 785. Let me tell you, that number is hotly contested.
You think it was over 1,000 because that's what the sources were saying yesterday, right?
The intel I got. That's the intel I got. But, what they may well do is shunt some of those numbers onto today. I had lots of exclusive footage on GB News today of landings. I mean, here's the outrageous.
Yeah, I think we've got some of that footage, actually.
Good.
There you go.
Yeah, there we are. Yeah. I mean, it just goes on every single day. But the fact that so many boats are making it all the way across the Channel and landing on the Kent shingle, I mean, it's a national security risk. It's a humiliation. The whole thing. I mean, look at it. It's absolutely blooming ridiculous, the whole thing. Now, in this case, Border Force are there to meet them. In many cases, we finish up with helicopter chases going on over the Kent marshes and elsewhere, lasting for hours, where people land. I mean, can Border Force literally not protect our shores at all? The whole thing's unbelievable. And to wake up this morning and see the front page of the Times, Priti Patel says to the French, I'm going to get tough with you. I mean, don't make me laugh. I mean, talk about what a Farage. What? I mean, honestly, we've already given them 130 million over the last couple of years. And now she says she might withhold some of the 54 million. I mean,
in 2 months' time.
Yeah, but the whole thing is utterly ridiculous. So I have been saying for months that not only will the numbers this year be in excess of 20,000, they might be nearer 30,000. And by the way, those pictures, Dan, we just showed, did you notice something? They're all young men. They're all young men. Now, you'll see a picture in the Times, whatever it may be, and the odd child, the odd woman, and that makes the front page. It's last figures I found, 91% young men, mostly now coming from all over Africa. And no doubt this country is nicer than Africa. But, I mean, honestly, the thing's out of control. And here's the interesting bit. YouGov, of all companies, YouGov over the weekend, saying that this is now the third highest issue on voters' concerns, equal, would you believe, with the environment. There we are. There's a child. There are some children being sent. It's true. But mostly it's young men. Fit, young men. And Priti Patel keeps making tough statements. This Dan Mahoney, this special officer, working for the Home Office of the Channel, just makes the same statement every single day. And I want to know, Dan, what is the cost of this? What we do know is the cost of housing those that come and seek asylum has gone up 42% in 2 years. It's now 1.42 billion every year. But what is the social cost? What is the social? I mean, probably I should wash my mouth out with soap and water.
You have to do that every day.
Well, I have for many, many years, dear boy. I'm quite used to it. But what is the social cost of absorbing very large numbers of young males from cultures in which women are not even second-class citizens? And if we are prepared to have a cold, hard look at a Swedish city like Malmo, and I knew Sweden. When I worked in the commodities business, I did a lot of business in Sweden, and indeed shipped product in and out of Malmo. Yeah, it's a port, and ports often have rougher elements, but Sweden was this incredibly peaceful country. Malmo, now the rape capital of Europe. And if you put a lot of young men into a completely different culture, don't be surprised when there are problems. No one talks about that.
Well, and also, no one talks about the terrorists. No one talks about the terrorists that are coming in either. And I mean, come on.
Of course. I mean, ISIS, in 2015, ISIS said they would use the Mediterranean route to get their operatives into Europe, all right? And when the terrible massacre happened in 2015, late 15 in Paris, the Bataclan massacre and all the rest of it, of the 8 men committed those atrocities, 5 had come across the Mediterranean by boat. This is sobering stuff. And it doesn't just apply to the Channel, it applies to the Afghan situation as well.
Well, of course, because none of these people have papers, or the vast majority don't have papers, they don't have passports. You know, the whole reason why there has to be a legal process is so that we can check that these folk arriving or who we take in legally are not rapists and are not terrorists. And that's not happening because these people in the boats, they actually get rid of their papers.
Yeah, of course, they deliberately throw the papers away so they can't be deported anywhere. And I promise you that crossing the Channel in a few weeks' time, every one of them will say they've come from Afghanistan. That is just what they are going to say. And Priti Patel, who, by the way, Dan, I like on a personal level, I have some admiration for, or I did, she keeps talking tough and delivering nothing. And if there is a reshuffle coming this week, maybe she's one to go. But whoever replaces her, nothing will improve. We're still part of the European Convention on Human Rights, which makes deporting anybody, anywhere, very, very difficult. And we have a government that is clearly not conservative in any way at all. A government that is utterly disrespecting the wishes of the Brexit voting majority, which was to take back control of our borders. And never in the history of our nation have our borders been abused as openly and as visually as they are at the moment. And a couple of weeks ago, I said this was an invasion. I mean, goodness gracious me. You know, I mean, you would have thought I'd said something dreadful. What else can you say about these boats that go on?
Well,
I've been stopped.
I've
landing on our feet.
I've branded them this week Tinos, Nigel, Tories in name only, because that's what we seem to be getting from this government. But look, I'm interested in that YouGov poll, right? Because if we trust, and I don't always trust these polls, but I completely agree that this is a big issue that the public care about. You say, according to this poll, as much as the environment crisis. Well, where's the BBC with all of their news specials about this migrant crisis, given that this is a corporation that's meant to reflect the concerns of the entire country? Because we get it constantly on the environment, and they don't want to cover this, Nigel. They don't want to cover it.
No, it's too awkward, it's too embarrassing. But what's also shocking is how few Conservative backbench MPs are prepared to stand up and say it. Because everyone's scared of the finger being pointed and, oh, you're prejudiced, you're racist, you're whatever it may be. And so, you know, cancel culture works not just in stopping those that say and speak how they feel, but it also works in preventing those from saying what they really feel. It's an aspect of it that very rarely gets discussed.
No, I think it's chilling. It's absolutely chilling. It is. But look, stand by, because we'll be back with much more from Nigel after the break, and he's going to weigh in on that controversial national insurance broken promise. And could Donald Trump return to the White House? Will Trump's former advisor, George Papadopoulos, who inadvertently sparked the Russia probe, he's on deck for tonight's big question at 10. Remember, he got